morning. You're listening to AVNewscast.com on News Talk 1380.
The number one news talk radio program
Yes, sir.
in the Antelope Valley. We are back on the internet, so you can also catch our show live right now at www.avnewscast.com. If you want to be part of the show, give us a call at 661-266-4420, and we'll try to take your call. Mm-hmm. We've got an in-studio guest today.
One of my favorite people on the planet.
Wow.
Palmdale Mayor James Ledford.
Oh, you guys, thank you.
It's true.
You know I like your show? Why? I come on your show and I get a great view.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
You do.
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
Every now and then you can see Lucky wandering around in the street, the dog next door.
Yeah, that's my dog's name.
This,
Yeah?
Yes.
This is
Coincidental.
This is a view from our penthouse suite,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
Right.
not bad.
just like KFI.
I think it's better.
Yeah, I think it's
Hey.
better too. Mayor Ledford, I brought you on the show because, and it's always great to have you on the show, but yesterday, a three-judge appellate court ruled that the Palmdale City election can go forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
clarity, finally. Because, chaos and mayhem only increase the cost.
Well, the thing that's bothered me the entire time is they say they're doing this because voters are disenfranchised, and then having whether or not there's going to be an election at all up in the air, that gets people to just throw their hands up and they don't go, and they're it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're making the disenfranchisement.
Well, I think that's exactly correct, and it's all about the money, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't about black, brown,
No.
white.
Yeah, no.
It's about green, making lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here we are. We're getting played. So we got to respond, and we are. The appellate court finally some reason came forward now where we can move forward. We can always, get these results completed and tabulated, and then I'm sure the courts will enter again.
Right.
But at the same time, we can develop this remedy of district formats, because that's what's going to happen at the Superior Court level. This guy's, that's what he wants. So he's got to make that recommendation after he gets all the information from both sides that will hopefully give him an opportunity to make a decision. But once he makes that decision, we're going to appeal that decision, because this guy is, I'm not sure, is up to date on the law as we would hope. And I think the appellate panel will again reaffirm where we're going as a city.
Now, a lot of residents have called into the show, and they've spoken to us, and they've said, they don't agree with Judge Mooney's ruling in that the Palmdale election, the train had already left the station. This election was a happening thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Mail-in ballots were coming in. People had received, I already received mine. Mine was already sent in.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people totally disagreed with the fact that since the train had left the station, this election should go forward.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay? And didn't agree with the judge's ruling.
All right.
Well, I think that's common sense. I think you look in the local newspaper, that poll they did, it was like 97%
Right.
said, we don't agree with this. This isn't what's going on in our valley. So you got a very small group that's celebrating chaos.
Yeah. It's like in The Dark Knight when they said some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a way to do this without burning the world up.
Yeah.
And not making certain attorneys rich
Right.
for their mayhem and chaos.
Now, there are some candidates. We have a candidate coming on at after the 8:30 break. SirDaniel Duplechan.
Yes.
Duplechan. Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks for correcting me there. Now, there are candidates that don't have, a funded war chest and have already really invested in their campaign, and to have that campaign totally derailed.
Yeah.
How
Besides
unfair
the
is
people
that?
that have already voted.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Saying your vote doesn't really matter because we're going to make you redo it.
Right. A lot of candidates were really upset that, with the on again, off again,
Yeah.
and everything that was happening. Now, yesterday at lunchtime, this election was off again.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
We started the day, it was on, and then early morning, it's off, and then in the afternoon, on.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was like ping pong. It was crazy.
Well, that's exactly how our community is being played.
Yeah.
Like a ping pong game for money.
Yep.
So this is all about cash.
And they obviously don't care because that's coming out of the taxpayers of Palmdale's pockets. There's services they're not going to get because this nonsense.
Exactly. Of course, their jurisdiction remains unscathed,
Yes.
Right.
and they're able to maintain services.
Yeah.
It's a game. It's a political
It's
game.
terrible.
I agree. So we're getting played as an Antelope Valley, and sooner or later, more people will stand up and go, enough.
Right.
Why do we tolerate this? And why do we tolerate this constant jabbing going on all the time?
It's childish.
Well, it is, and I resent the fact that they like to pull my city in like we're at odds. We're combating, and we're not doing that. We're correcting their misstatements, and we challenge their misstatements, but
Right.
we're trying to be respectful and honest in our position, and it's not a game, but to others it is, and it's just disheartening to see that.
Well, this is good. Now, Palmdale has some more good news. Palmdale yesterday, a report came out, and it was, I believe, was it by the FBI?
Yes.
The FBI released a report yesterday naming the safest cities across America.
We always hold our breath when that comes. We always do.
And the city of Palmdale made it into the top 50.
Nice.
Yes, we did. And I'm proud. I'm proud of actually our deputies, but I'm also proud of our residents. We got 420 neighborhood watches. I mean, that makes a big difference.
It's a team effort.
It's a team effort, and it's community-based policing at its finest, and that's a model. That's what lots of communities want to emulate. But what you got to do is let the sheriff's department do their job. But the last thing you need out of a city is a micromanaging, executive board. Do this, do that. We know better than you, the professionals. So I just see that as a validation of the whole community-based centric approach to making our community safer. And it takes effort and time, and we got to work at it. But our residents have responded, and I think this is a tip of the hat to them.
I think the world of Captain Ford, too.
Yes, he's a great guy.
Now, when you think about it, though, so many cities across the country, to be in the top 50,
Wow.
okay, it is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It kind of
There's a lot
pops to the perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gloom and doomers. Oh, the sky's falling. Oh, no. And you know what? I like to be realistic in life. I mean, sure, we all need to protect ourselves, and that's the whole point of a community-based policing effort, is to train our residents to be able to, be in a better position to defend crime and prohibit crime from even coming around their house. But I think it's just validates what we should be doing. And it is very prestigious. I like that idea of being in the top 50.
Yeah.
It's like, it pops the bubble, though. Oh, gosh, that's not quite how we frame ourselves. What's wrong? We have to reset.
Yeah. Our self-image, but yeah.
I want to take a break, but when we come back, Senator Steve Knight is forming a panel with 2 members of Palmdale, 2 members of Lancaster, sit down and talk. Can we talk about that when we come back?
Absolutely.
All right, you're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380, the #1 News Talk radio program in the Antelope Valley, and we'll be right back.
This is Jim Ledford, Mayor of the City of Palmdale, asking for your support on November 5th to vote for and elect Palmdale First candidates Joan Sodergan, Linda Jones, John Curiel for the West Side School Board, Barbara Gaines for the Antelope Valley College Board, John Hutek and Michael Dutton for the Antelope Valley High School Board, Sandy Corrales, Jeffrey Farron, and Carol Stanford for the Palmdale School District, and Tom Lackey and Fred Thompson for the Palmdale City Council. Paid for by Jim Ledford for Mayor 2013, Committee ID number 920686. My name is Jim Ledford, and I approve this message. This is Jim Ledford, Mayor of the City of Palmdale, asking for your vote and support to re-elect Tom Lackey and elect Fred Thompson, former Planning Commission Chairman, to the Palmdale City Council. They are our Palmdale First candidates, and putting Palmdale first is their #1 priority. On November 5th, please vote for and elect Tom Lackey and Fred Thompson to the Palmdale City Council. Paid for by Jim Ledford for Mayor 2013, Committee ID number 920686. My name is Jim Ledford, and I approve this message.
performance and has an educational curriculum that exceeds what the state of California recommends. The curriculum is enriched through age-appropriate exposure for information technology, arts, foreign language such as Arabic, and physical education. The Guidance Charter School is now going to have a full CIF sports program with soccer, basketball, track, cheerleading, and more. They're an open enrollment school, publicly funded, and have been in business for 12 years, fully approved by Palmdale School District. The Guidance Charter School has small class sizes such as 20 students in grades K through 3, 25 in 4 through 8, and just 30 students in grades 9 through 12. Call the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale today at 661-272-1701. That's the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale, 661-272-1701. And check out their website at thegcs.org. A better high school choice.
Welcome back to avnewscast.com on News Talk 1380.
Mayor Ledford, question back to you. Just last week, Senator Steve Knight issued a press release stating that he formed a panel and he reached out to, he wanted to broker some dialogue between both cities.
Right.
That's my understanding.
Yes.
So he reached out personally to 2 members from Palmdale and 2 members from Lancaster. He selected the 2 people from both cities? That's a question. Yeah.
Did he?
I'm asking.
Well, let me
was
tell
that
you.
his choice?
I think it was a collaboration. I had an opportunity to talk to our Senator Knight on this issue. He called me and said, "Jim, what do you think? This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'd like to do." And I want to support him in his endeavor. And Steve has got some insight. He's a former councilman, so he understands kind of the details. But I indicated to him that I think the best format would be to take people not in an election and people that are not going to be in an election. And, of course, you discount the mayors because, with us it's personal.
Yeah.
Again, that's another perception being promoted.
Yeah.
It's personal. So what happens is you end up at a panel from Palmdale of Mike Dispenza and Steve Hoffbauer. And in Lancaster, those 2 individuals would be Ken Mann and Sandra Johnson. Now, there's some issues going on that that the senator's working through to get compliance. And last week that couldn't happen. This week I got a text from one of my colleagues that says the meeting's been called off. So I think it's a matter of getting people up to speed. And once they show up, and I don't think it's about solving the world's ills, the conflict between the cities. I don't see that as the issue. I think it's about just dialogue, building trust, basic trust. We don't have it.
The door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, every time we've attempted this in the past, there's always a press release before we had the meeting. It's like, well, what happened to that? There's no, the secrecy is certainly gone. And I think that serves us best if we just focus on dialogue, build trust. Public doesn't need to be part of that day-to-day, blow-by-blow kind of event. They need to know it's happening, and I think the senator has done that. But that really got released at a council meeting. So it wasn't Steve Knight that even said that. Wow. So we're going to work through it, and it's something I told him I would support if we take the politics out of it. So I think the answer is correct. I think that the 2 that he's picked for Palmdale are correct, and I think in Lancaster that'll settle, and I think he gets it. He's trying to navigate through it, and of course he's being challenged, and no, you can't do that. What you do is political. that person, no, the same old. I say let it go, let it happen. What's the worst? Yeah. What's the worst that can happen out of this? We could go, oh, no, we don't agree with any of that.
Right.
Because it's not a majority.
You can have that first meeting on either side of Avenue M shouting back and forth to one another and then work your way closer to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see these participants doing that.
Yeah.
On occasion we all get sucked into this. But overall, I think our councils might be the best way to start. That was my recommendation to Mr. Knight, and he's attempting to follow that because, of course, he wants to engage us and he wants us part of that. So I'm okay with it. I mean, it's okay to say we're trying to talk, but like he says, somebody's got to make a phone call. Somebody's got to step forward. But I don't hear a lot of that in my city. Funny. I read about it in the paper a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't hear a lot. Nobody shows up at my meeting. Oh, you need to make up. You hear it from candidates. Oh, but you know what? They haven't yet tasted the environment.
Right.
So once they get it into that position, then they might have a relevant point. But at this point, it's a very caustic relationship for whatever reason, I don't know. But it's not the employees. It's not the residents.
No.
It's the leadership that, again, chaos, mayhem, serves the purpose.
Right.
So we're getting played, Antelope Valley. That's Jim Ledford's position.
Let me ask you another question, Mayor Ledford. At the last candidate debate, and this was the debate for mayor, okay? One of the questions that the moderator asked was, if you are elected or reelected, this went to all the candidates that were there, what would be your first two priorities?
Right.
Okay, and this went to every single candidate. The only candidate, the only person that said, first, jobs, the economy,
Right.
was you.
Well, unfortunately,
Okay.
I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Now, I heard another candidate say, first thing I want to do, one was talking about dogs. Another candidate said, I want to kill the power plants, which in and of itself, you do that and you kill
There's a job
hundreds
killer.
of jobs
Yep.
right away.
800,
Okay.
just to start with.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so-
that's not important.
No, not at all.
Okay. But it was surprising to me that every other candidate got that question wrong, because that's the number one thing. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, it all kind of pivots on that.
it does. But I got to say again, when you're in this arena, I think you get sensitized to what issues may be the correct ones. And that was an easy one for me. But I think all the candidates have an issue or an angle that they think will improve our community. And they're trying to project that. I get it, and I don't think they're bad for that. But to me,
It's not there yet.
yeah, if we can't sustain as a city, well, does it matter? I'm not worried
The
about
dogs are wild. Yeah, it really doesn't matter.
it. The dogs will be wild.
That's
true.
If we don't do that. So again, for me, it's that, and the other is people got to go back to work, and things like a power plant and Kinky Shower coming to our community. I mean, that represents about 1,200 jobs right now. And we're letting people derail that based on what? No facts? Nothing they could substantiate? It's all, again, part of the chaos and mayhem. And it's affecting our ability to put people to work.
Yep.
It's outrageous.
Right. Now, some of the large companies, like you just mentioned, or in Lancaster, BYD,
Right.
up there, that represents jobs not just for Palmdale and or Lancaster, but the entire Antelope Valley community.
Yes.
Okay.
And it brings wealth back into the community through payroll.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, guys. That's how we're going to keep our restaurants that we love to go to breakfast at open. That's how we're going to keep, small business participating in our community. It's all about this trickle down. And when you get $1 billion investment, my gosh, we all benefit. Everybody's boat rises. And continual investment after that in either taxes or salaries and services and purchase of goods and products. That's what it's all about. And for us to say, we're not sure about this, that's a dangerous message. Dangerous. And yesterday, actually, I got to announce at the Air District meeting that we did get an endorsement of our power plant by BizFed, which is probably the largest economic development promotion group in Southern California. They represent all the chambers, all the economic developments. Our own Board of Trade is part of that, even though they abstained on our power plant. I don't quite understand that out of an economic development group. But anyway, we can't understand everything. But I think it's silencing, the naysayers or maybe the people that might support. When you create this environment, people are afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to speak up.
I just find it amusing where the potential byproduct of a place, the worst thing they think can come out of there is some steam versus, a place manufacturing batteries with the possibility of lead and lithium and everything dripping down in the water table, and solar plants out there blowing valley fever in these dust bowl sized storms that I haven't seen in the 43 years that I've been here. And they're all worried about a little puff of steam.
Well, I think, again, it's hysteria because what they're using to base that opinion on is non-factual.
Right.
So you just got to call it out. Say, okay, prove it up.
Right.
Give me the facts. Well, they can't. And so,
I didn't make any friends there in Lancaster with those comments, did I?
Oh, Jeffrey, you're killing me right now. Okay. So,
well, let me tell you this. I support BYD. And then that battery plant does have emissions. These are different emissions than a power plant, though.
Yeah.
And we need to analyze that, of course, but my job is to support that move and try to help, if we can mitigate any impacts, and I'm sure we can, move forward. Let's get this going. We need to put people to work. And yeah, there's concerns, but there's always concerns in everything we do.
Steve gets mad at me, but I can't hold back on that. Those are real concerns that I have, and
it is.
I got to voice it.
I understand, but at the same time, when BYD and I mean, it represents a lot of jobs. Okay,
yeah,
it represents a lot of jobs. And I'm glad to hear Mayor Ledford say, I support it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have big business coming to either city, that represents 200, 500,000 jobs, whatever it is, that's a huge thing. That's huge for the Antelope Valley
on both sides,
because you got 13% and change in unemployment up here.
Make sure you do the due diligence to mitigate the effects to the world around you. Throw some gravel out there off Avenue D. Okay. How much does gravel cost?
They analyze it all. And it's like the power plant. And I think Steve's right. These are jobs that it's a big deal. And we need to, unless you're happy with 13% unemployment.
Right.
Unless you're happy with 15% unemployment in Lancaster, it's worse. So for their leadership to poo-pah 800 jobs, somebody ought to write them a letter. You might be working, but I'm not.
Right.
Please quit affecting my livelihood.
Now, I see people in the community that even talk about the power plant, and we know that, and it's been reported that the EPA has come in and said, look, this is perhaps the cleanest power plant that we've ever vetted.
Yes.
Okay? Ever vetted at all. Mm-hmm. Well, that in and of itself, that just kind of removes all the doubt.
Well, you get through California. You're probably the cleanest in the world. My allegation, we're in the world.
Right.
Because nobody does the regulatory approach that California does. We're clearly above any other that I know of. Maybe I can learn something here, but if there's a nation out there that has a tougher regulatory process in California, I want to hear about it.
When I read somewhere, it takes like 8 years to put a cell phone tower up because of all the regulations in California.
Yeah, I don't know if it takes that long for us, but yeah. Cell phone towers, those are a concern for so people show up. They want to talk. But again, the facts don't support that hysteria. Right. Now, can you play it safe? Yeah, I guess we could do nothing. Just play it safe. But that doesn't get us back.
No.
Our community's got to come back, and we need to go to work, and we need to embrace economic development like we used to do. This only started in this latest crop of leaders that have shown up that decided, that's not good. Well, I think we need to tell them a different story.
Right.
No, and we need to reduce unemployment. Governor Brown, just a few months back, said, look, California, our unemployment rate dropped below 9%. Mm-hmm. That gives me the ability to start cutting back on unemployment insurance, okay? And unemployment benefits, I'm now reducing it by weeks because, the Antelope Valley didn't drop to 9%.
Yeah,
no.
Okay? And there are a lot of people here
and
that
those
need
numbers
to work.
are skewed anyway. They're not counting the people that have already fallen off the books. So
or just quit looking. There's no opportunity. So maybe they're not in the rotation anymore.
Yeah.
I agree with that. We're not out of this up here. Our unemployment is still not acceptable. And again, because we give mixed messages to potential investors.
Right.
Come on. Wake up.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. And, going back to Palmdale being named in the top 50 safest cities, okay? And I'm going to say Lancaster was not that far behind.
Right.
Okay? We're in the county of L.A., and we're also in a community that has a state prison. Mm-hmm. Okay? In our population here. Mm-hmm. In our community. And still to make it for both cities. Okay, where they ranked, that's huge.
It's awesome. I think it's a great thing, Steve. You just hit it on the head. Both cities should be celebrating. Of course, we're going to celebrate and tout our top 50 thing. That feels good.
Yeah.
But, hey, we're all in the same boat. We're very close. And I think the Antelope Valley, we need to, congratulate everybody that's involved in public safety. Good work.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're going to take a break. Mayor Ledford, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, my pleasure. You guys are fun.
Yay.
We appreciate it.
You ought to see what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Soon they will be able to because they'll see us in video and not just hear us.
Yes.
All right. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley, AV Newscast, and we'll be right back.
high demand. Government funding for this program will run out in a few weeks. To see if you qualify for Zero Down Solar, call 800-616-0200. That's 800-616-0200. The California Solar Initiative expanded state support of solar technology as part of the governor's Million Solar Roofs vision for California. A number of Southern California utilities have already shut down their government incentives due to budgetary constraints. However, if you're a Southern California Edison customer and your electric bill is over $150 a month, rebates to go solar for zero money down are still available. But you need to act now. Rebate budgets will only last a few more weeks. To submit your application, call Varango Solar now at 800-616-0200. 800-616-0200. That's 800-616-0200.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 935263.
Was granted a license by the Federal Communications Commission to serve the public interest as a public trustee until December 1st, 2013. Our license will expire on December 1st, 2013. We've filed an application for renewal with the FCC. A copy of this application is available for public inspection during regular business hours. It contains information concerning the station's performance during the last 8 years. Individuals who wish to advise the FCC of facts relating to our renewal application and to whether this station is operated in the public interest should file comments and petitions with the FCC by November 1st, 2013. Further information concerning the FCC's broadcast license renewal process is available at 570 East Avenue, Q9, Palmdale, California, 93550.
Welcome back to avnewscast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, we got a bunch of callers, but can we grab one before we bring on our next
been
guest?
Waiting a while.
All right. Hi, you are live on News Talk Radio.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi,
Thank you for your patience.
Oh, no problem. Well, typically I didn't have any patience, otherwise I would have been a doctor.
Oh, ha!
Ha ha. So I understand there was a question asked on air yesterday, I believe, and it was regarding the Palmdale School Board debate showdown.
Uh-huh.
And one of the questions came from the audience, presented to the moderator, and it was very brief, somewhat ambiguous, as they didn't read it as I wrote it. And it had to do with abolishing homework and creating more home time. And so I'd like to kind of clear up the air a little bit to some of the parents out there that are opposed to that idea. And I'd like to briefly give you the Reader's Digest version and explain why.
Sure.
Okay, go.
Okay, so typically throughout history, we've had presidents, their first ladies, and their predecessors, along with famous actors, go on the air, and they've always advocated to build a better America, we need more family time. Now, having 5 children, 3 are out of school now, 2 are in school, they're both 4.0 average. They spend up to, I can't even count the hours, but they're up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning doing homework. So the rhetorical question is, how can I have that proverbial family time if they're buried in homework? So I've interviewed 100 students in middle school and high school here in the AV. 100 out of 100 students agreed that if we could take care of getting all this done in school, perhaps creating a lengthier day, add 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes, to a school day, they would agree that they would much rather have a longer school day and have absolutely no homework so that when the children come home, they can have time with their mom and dad. They can have time playing a game of life or cards or Monopoly, name it, walk the dog. There isn't any time.
Okay, and I understand what you're saying.
In that arena, but overall, there's more kids that are doing poorly in school than they are doing where your kids are experiencing, which I completely commend. So to me, based on the test scores, taking away homework when they're doing so poorly overall wouldn't be necessarily in their benefit.
I think there's some validity to what you're saying. However, those kids that are, testing a little bit lower, I have to state that it's probably because they're not getting any help at home and they're not doing their homework. Therefore, if we could split the shifts. Now, the teachers' unions, I've brought this up in PTA meetings. I've been on 2 boards here in the Antelope Valley, and they've all said, well, we don't want to put in the extra hours. We could split the teacher's day into a morning and afternoon shift. They absolutely need more instructional time in the classroom as a group because they're not getting the help that they need.
Well, I understand that. So that was you that asked the question, or at least presented the question to the moderator.
I did present the question, what would we do to reduce homework so that we could create more family time in the home? Because there seems to be a huge contradiction out there. I really believe that the whole paradigm with spending time with your family at the dinner table is important. We do that every day. But thereafter, they take off and they have to go do homework. The weekends come around. I try to make plans with the kids, and they say, Dad, I have homework, or I'm so exhausted. Their extracurricular activities are mixed in that somewhere as well. But honest to God, they are up till 12 o'clock at night doing homework on a daily basis. And it just seems like
these are probably AP classes,
passing the buck.
I don't know, and my son's in 8th grade, goes to public school in the city of Palmdale at Desert Willow. He gets 85% of his homework on Monday, and he has to gauge it through the week and figure it out. But and then occasionally he'll get another assignment, but he's not doing any more than an hour a day, and he's got a 3.5 GPA.
Right.
Not any more than an hour a day.
Are your kids in AP classes? Is that why they're so challenged?
They are, and I think that some of the problem here is that middle school and high school, they have 5 or 6 teachers, and I don't really believe that each teacher is giving consideration that the other teacher is issuing homework as well. And so, my daughter, for example, in world history, she has honors world history, says, I have to write 6 journals this week. I don't know how I'm going to do it because I have all this other homework stacked up on top of me. And so the instructional time in the classroom isn't existing because from what I understand, and I have to just further elaborate that my kids go to Westside, and so they're saying that a lot of the teachers, they are actually talking about what you need to accomplish via homework. And so a lot of what's going on in the classroom is being pushed off into the home.
Maybe
so
some of the
happy
consideration.
medium?
Maybe some of the consideration could be done in the teachers that are teaching the AP classes, because we're not talking about. I mean, if you're going beyond what the basic class situations are requiring, then maybe those classes could be reconstructed to limit some of that kind of homework. But surely you can't do it across the board, because the people that are in the regular classes are not going home. They're not. First of all, they're not doing the homework that they're assigned to in the regular classes as it is. And then secondly, they're not getting the instruction that they needed to in the classroom to be able to come home and know that the next day they understand what the teacher was talking about the first day. So it's like, it's a loop. Right, it's a loop.
Yeah, it really is. And somewhere along the line, historically, I think that we've had this problem. Now, before my children were in some of these advanced classes, they also were in regular classes. And I noticed that, along with being in soccer or football, baseball, whatever, it was really hard to squeeze in those extracurriculars and get this proverbial homework done and then create the family time needed. I'm only advocating that there's a contradiction out there that we need to spend more time with our families. And I agree that it really, it builds a good foundation for children, but we've lost our way. Somewhere down the road, we've lost our way. I don't see why we couldn't, create a new educational system across the board, nationwide. Look at the cure-all for grade school, for example. We have parents that commute to L.A., and kids are stuck either having Aunt Martha, Uncle Harry, somebody picking up kids from school. Well, why not create a longer school day, have them get all their work done, and when mom or dad comes home from commuting, they simply pick up their children, they go home, they cook dinner, and they spend time together.
Yeah,
well, you know what? And that's not a bad thought. Keep listening to the show. We're going to have some of the candidates that are running for Palmdale School Board on the show over the next couple of days and next week.
Okay. Great.
And call back in. But I want to thank you for taking the time to call.
I wanted to thank you for giving me the time to kind of express some elaboration
because
on that subject.
that wasn't how the question was presented surely.
Yeah, so
and it never is. So thank you for the time and giving me the opportunity to explain myself.
not a problem. That's what it's all about. Community-based
Okay.
radio. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, now
Yes.
let's bring on our next guest.
Yes.
Okay, running for Palmdale City Council, SirDaniel Duplechan. Duplechan.
Good night.
Sorry. See, that's why I needed help.
That was on the break. That's so funny.
That's why I needed help.
We told
Okay.
Angie to do it,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't do it.
Sir,
Well,
thanks for joining us today.
Well, I thank you for having
Okay.
me. I thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
All right, so you're running for Palmdale City Council. You've had this on again, off again election going on.
Ugh.
You're running a campaign, a funded campaign, trying to do the best that you can. How does this, everything that's been going on in the court, how's that been faring with you?
Well, it's been a tremendous roller coaster. Of course, it has affected my ability to campaign, actually to generate funds, to get people inspired and just excited about the entire voting process. See, my entire campaign is basically based on getting new people or people that wasn't priorly registered to vote. Mm-hmm. A lot of this lawsuit that, according to the Voter Rights Act, has to do with our demographics, with it being that we have, 54% Latinos in the city of Palmdale. But a lot of those people are not registered to vote. And so part of my campaign is getting those people registered to vote, getting them inspired, getting them excited about the entire voting process.
Yeah, people have been trying that for years.
Yeah, but they never had a candidate like me.
Uh-oh.
They never
There you
had
go.
someone who looks like them, who talks like them, who actually experiences things that they experience.
You sound like Obama.
Well, well, it's true. It's true. It's you talk about all the at-risk youth out here in Antelope Valley, and those. I'm that person. Mm-hmm. By me running, especially at my age, I look. A lot of people think I'm younger than I really am, but I am 35, and I've lived here for over 20 years. So I'm deeply ingrained in my community, and I love my community. But I also know the other side of the community that most people don't. They don't show you on television. Mm-hmm. I was raised in the school systems. We just had the gentleman on that's talked about homework and things like that. I was in regular school. I was also in AP honors and all those different classes. So I understand the rigors of homework, but I also understand what our kids are going through now. Especially with it, I have a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
You've been busy.
Yeah, so I have kids in every grade level out here. Plus, I've been through it myself. And being a minority raised out here, especially way back when, I've seen the growth in our city. But I've also seen the changes in our city that aren't positive. Just a few years ago, in fact, I was just reading over the census for statistics for 2010. And they're so skewed now, just 3 years later, that it's amazing.
Okay, let me ask you a question, sir. What made you decide now, being a resident of Palmdale for 20 years, what made you decide now to throw your hat in the ring, and what do you bring to the table, and what do you want to bring to the table if you were elected?
Well, the first thing that I bring to the table is that I'm not a career politician. I'm not beholden to anyone. But what I do bring is that I have a ear to hear. I listen to the people. In fact, I believe that this, what we call the cactus curtain, this silly rivalry between the two cities, can be abolished, through dialogue. I was reading in the paper yesterday, through the Santa Clarita newspaper, but they were saying how the city of Palmdale has ceased discussion in regards to the Voters' Rights Acts and to come up with solutions on how we should redistrict and how we should set up our elections. But we can, just like in my relationship with my wife, when we're having a disagreement, we have to talk it out. See, that's the difference in being married. See, we as a city council or a city official, a city leader, you have to be married to your city. And if there's a disagreement, you have to work it out until it's worked out. And that can only be done through discussion.
Well, and they're working on discussion. And just to be fair, I mean, this so-called cactus curtain, This is not anything that was invented by either current mayor. Okay, this is something that goes back and back and back years and years and years.
I've got 43 years here, and it's been here as long as I have. I mean, it's flared up, to different extents over the years, but it's always.
Now, running for city council, that is not a get-rich position.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's really nobody can really be a career politician there and get rich. Okay, you can't survive off of that. All right, you're not going to be able to. So I want to mention that. But now, in running your campaign with this on again, off again, what does that do to campaign finances?
It kills it completely, because when people are putting their hard-earned money behind a candidate, it's valuable. And so if they're not sure whether or not the election is going to go on, they kind of feel like they may be throwing away money. And so it's hard to get people inspired and get them excited about an election when I can't even tell them a precise date that the election is going to be held.
Right.
Well, we know it's November 5th, and we know it's going forward.
That out yesterday.
Right.
Prior to yesterday, we didn't have a date.
You and I were talking yesterday during the day, okay? Mm-hmm. And we were texting back and forth. And at lunchtime, okay? At lunchtime, going back and forth, I hear the election's off again.
Yes.
Okay? And I was talking to people.
That's terrible.
Yes.
You're right, okay?
It really is.
Right, because when Sir woke up, the election was on.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Yes.
And then it's off at lunch, okay?
Yes.
And then he's having dinner and it's back on.
Yes.
Okay?
Yesterday I called to get my voters call list. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't release it to me because they said there was no election. Oh. This volley is just ridiculous. And see, my point is, it should have never gotten to this point. If there was open dialogue when the allegations first came across the board to the city council, they should have been dealt with at that time. There should have been negotiations. There should have been compromise. And in all actuality, since they had already lost the suit, they should have, with R.X. Paris's group or whoever the people are who's suing the city of Palmdale, they should have stopped the election before we invested all of our time, energy, and effort and money. And we wouldn't be in this.
Or went after the next election, since this was already in progress. You know what I mean? Because, it's hard enough to get people that are not registered to vote.
Exactly.
But when you're on and off again, people they don't care anymore.
Exactly. It takes away their confidence. It takes away their confidence because they're already feeling like their vote counts for nothing. Yes. Yeah. And to further it in this way it's insane.
Yeah. I was talking to people last night that and this is just people out of the restaurant that were very excited that it was back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
They were happy. Mm-hmm. All right.
I'm excited too, but is it really back on? Because at the end of the day, when the votes are tabulated and we have clear winners, they will not be placed into office.
Well, let me ask you a question. The lawsuit is, in great majority, about the claim that minorities are disenfranchised and haven't been elected to certain seats in the city of Palmdale, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we know that...
Do you feel that was valid?
Well, let me... what I bring with me was some of the actual notes of the judge of why he. Well,
a lot of us have read it.
Okay.
But let me ask you a question. In this, we know that in this next election, in this current election, that absolutely, without a doubt, a minority will be elected to city council.
Yes.
We know that without a doubt. Okay?
Yes.
But that's what the lawsuit was about. Well, if you know that without a doubt,
that doesn't make sense.
Okay, then why even bring a lawsuit?
Because that wasn't the only thing that the lawsuit was about.
What is it about?
It was about each certain portion or district of the city having a voice representing their interests in the city.
Well, wait a minute, though. But wait a minute. I don't. You know what? Albeit current city council members or new city council members that could be elected, I know they're going to represent my voice, regardless. Okay,
right?
It doesn't make any difference.
But
we've talked about this on the show.
Jim
before.
Ledford lives on the east side.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is the point I'm
How
trying
many
to
of
make
the
is
city council members live on the east side?
How many?
How many?
I don't
Well,
know.
the point I'm making is that, and Angelina said it before too. I don't need to have a Caucasian elected to the city council
Exactly.
to represent
Race
me.
shouldn't
Okay,
matter.
I don't need that. Okay, Fred Thompson's running. I have no worries. Okay,
Yeah.
albeit Fred, albeit Sir, albeit anybody. Okay, Tom Lackey, anybody. I know that my interests are going to be represented because I know all these people. Okay, and I've known Sir. Okay, it for me it's not about skin color at all.
Exactly.
It doesn't. Okay, it's not about that. So then, I don't know if that's really a compelling argument, sir.
Well, it's not the argument, but it's the fact that the Voters' Rights Act is part of our law, and the judge decided on it. And see, there's things that could have been done to forgo this in the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's my only point. For example, that's why I threw my hat into the ring prior to even knowing any of this was going on, prior to knowing that there could be a stay in the election. When I first signed papers to run for city council, I had no idea that this election could possibly be stopped.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All this stuff developed, and I was running the same way we've been running for years. In a
general, open general
exactly.
election.
But, sir,
I
do
understand.
you think that somebody needs to look like you to represent you?
Not at all.
I just wanted to clear.
Not at all.
Get that. Okay.
Not at all. We need qualified individuals who are not looking for self. We have Palmdale first, but I think it should be people first. That's really what it's about. We need to focus on what our people need.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Say it was districting, and let's just say hypothetical that I live in District 1, but you're running in District 2. Well, I want the ability to vote for you.
You can't.
Okay, because I like you as a candidate.
You can't.
Okay,
you got to move.
Just a minute. This is my point. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the point I'm making. Okay. I've looked at all the candidates, and this is just a hypothetical. And Sir is in District 2, and I want to be able to vote for him. So now you're telling me that I can't vote for the best candidate that I want to vote for.
Talk about disenfranchisement.
Okay. Now I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so now I don't even want to vote.
That part I totally get, because I would rather have somebody that lives in my local community, because they're driving down the same potholes that I am. They're embedded in the area that I'm breathing air at, or dealing with pollution, or having the little plane, bother me yes. 9 times during the night. So I get that whole thing based on where you live, but I think it's 9 steps backwards if you start saying that somebody needs to look like me to represent me.
Exactly.
That I take offense to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's what part of the lawsuit was about.
I know, and that's crazy.
Okay.
It's crazy.
That's what part of the lawsuit was about.
We're going to take a break.
Do we need to take a quick break, Gilbert? We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back with Sir. Stand by. You're listening to AV Newscast.
If you're thinking about getting your backyard in shape for entertaining, there's only one place to shop, and that's Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. At Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale, you'll save up to 70% off retail every day at our factory warehouse showroom. Abadak has everything you need to get your backyard in shape, like 7.5-foot tall, 41,000 BTU, freestanding LPG patio heaters for just $159.99. How about a fully enclosed backyard gazebo? Fire up that barbecue and enjoy a nice meal inside one of our Mandalay, Trinidad, or Mykonos freestanding gazebos. Just $219.97 every day. If you want wholesale prices, come to Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. How about backyard shade or car canopies? You can pick a variety of color choices starting at just $129.97. Stop by Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. We're located at 38940 Trade Center Drive, 1 block east of 10th Street West. The Abadak Factory Showroom is open from 8 to 4 every day. That's Abadak Outdoors at 38940 Trade Center Drive in Palmdale, where you'll save up to 70% off retail every day. Check us out on the web at abadak.com or give us a call at 661-480-1562.
Vote for my daddy on November 5th. You know why? Because you put back music and arts and sports. Please vote for my daddy. Please get the no phone. Because to put back music and arts back in the schools. Goodbye.
Who's that kid? That kid is Justin Moffitt, age 6, who is a prodigy student of the Palmdale School District, and Jeffrey and Star Moffitt are the proud parents to Justin. Jeffrey Moffitt, tax attorney, and candidate for the Palmdale School Board. Moffitt wants your vote on November 5th. Why? Because your vote, Moffitt, will restore after-school programs such as music, arts, and sports back into the Palmdale School District to prepare students with becoming globally competitive. Vote for Moffitt on November 5th. Why? Because Moffitt believes students are first before politics. Why? Because Moffitt is the most qualified. Your Moffitt vote is your voice to ensure your child will not be left behind. Moffitt is the people's choice. Moffitt on November 5th.
Welcome back to avnewscast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, sir, I do want to mention that, it's great having you on the show. If you want to come back on the show at any time prior to the election, you're welcome to, because I know we kind of, your time kind of got a little compressed here.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
If there was a message that you wanted to get out to the people in the city of Palmdale, to the voters out there, with only a couple of minutes left in the show, though, but what would your message be?
Well, really, just to stand up. It's time for us to, as a city, as a community, to come together. We all love this city. This is our home. We only have this one life to live, and we have to make it better for those who come after us. It's our responsibility to take part in our government. We're blessed enough to live in a country that we have a say. We have democracy. We can vote, and that's why I love this entire process. That's why I'm involved in it so deeply. I'm running for Palmdale City Council because I feel like that's the area where I can affect the most good, where I can help the most people. But it's all of our responsibility. And as city councilman, only thing I want to do is encourage others to participate. Encourage others, because it's not just me or the mayor or just a handful of people who can effectively make the changes in our city, but it's us together as a community that can make these changes. If we want safer streets, then together we make our streets safer. If we want to have more jobs, it's together that we can produce a city that companies would want to come to and participate in and start their businesses in.
Well, Palmdale being named into the top 50 cities in America as safest, that's a plus.
Yes, it is.
And in fact, for the Antelope Valley to have two cities, I'll say that two cities in the top 55, I think I could say, okay, that's a great thing when you're talking about the entire United States of America.
I'm a little scared of that, I gotta say.
What?
Because,
Santa Clarita was in the top 10.
I get it, but I just don't want... I want them to continue to do the job as they're supposed to do the job.
Right.
I don't want them to get overly gung-ho and like do more profiling and more, I don't like what that looks like. You know what I mean? Like, just do it correctly.
They're doing it correctly. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because that's a big concern of mine.
I understand what you're saying, and you know that the Department of Justice has really looked at this, as well as the FBI and everybody else. They've looked at it, so you kind of know that there's a magnifying glass looking at everything.
Right.
So they're doing it right. But I think it's really great that both cities rank so high.
Yeah.
Because that's a real plus for the Antelope Valley.
It is.
Yeah, one thing I want to do, actually, as city councilman, is work with the sheriff's department to put together a campaign where basically they just go overboard to be nice and to create relationship with the citizens.
Please do.
Even if it's going as far as putting together a petty cash fund where they can access it to maybe buy a man some boots that doesn't have any shoes. Those things go a long way. If they're able to just, instead of seeing kids on the street and asking who are you, give me your ID, stand here on the curb, they're just saying, hey, what's going on, guys? How's things been? They can get to know people on a personal basis. Our city, we still have that small town home feeling, and we can still have it if we nurture it.
Right,
well, I understand what you're saying.
I like that message.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. We're at the end of our time. Sir, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're welcome back anytime.
Me.
Thanks for making AV Newscast the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley. Make it a really great day, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.